Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Dory and I am back with another video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, make sure you comment, because I kind of try to respond to everybody with this XJW stuff. It's just, you have so much to share and you have so much stuff and so much proof that this organization is not God's heavenly organization at all. Starting with your family. So I don't even know where to begin with all the family drama that occurs, and it could very well be a huge combination of mental illness along with the Watchtower teaching. It's not a good idea to have any type of mental illness and be a part of this organization. It will just exacerbate the mental illness even more. And whatever family drama you have, it will just exacerbate that family drama even more. They don't have solutions for a lot of family problems, starting with child sexual abuse. So I'm just going to share my family's horrific family experience and how I know that if this was God's heavenly organization and it's supposed to keep families together, then my family experience should have never happened if this is supposed to be the truth. A lot of their sexual abuse victims endure a great deal of ridicule and ostracism. And I know this to be proven true because my mother is a child sex abuse survivor. She's still in the organization. My mom was ostracized for reporting her sexual abuse to the elders, who again, of course, do not report anything to the police. And it's unclear of the timing of all of this. And she was ostracized by her family for 10 years. I did not meet my mother's mother until I was about 10 years old. It was because of the child sexual abuse. I want to say I was about maybe 16 years old. I found out they provide no counseling for their sexual abuse victims. Basically, just tell them to leave it in Jehovah's hands. And then on top of that, abuse victims get ostracized, punished by their families because you are known as the family snitch. So if you get victim blamed big time for basically, why did you tell that happened to you? You're not supposed to report that. So even in the midst of family, sexual abuse victims get to endure torture, especially if the abuse is done by a family member. So that was my mother's case. So come to find out, my mom was a sexual abuse victim. Now this made me very, I was disturbed, deeply disturbed. I just couldn't understand how she did the right thing. She went to the elders. They never called the police. Her rapist is still free, but yet she was ostracized for 10 years from her family. And the Watchtower organization did absolutely nothing for her ostracism. They just basically ate out of it and was like, oh, we're just gonna mind our business. Meanwhile, my mother is out here having babies and making a family, and her mom is not speaking to her. And she was a witness in good stand, going door to door, preaching. And her mother and her family ostracized her. And they're supposed to be so Christian. And yet my mother's mother is being like worshipped as this like Messiah of my family. But she wasn't speaking to my mom for like 10 years. How are you a part of Jehovah's organization and you're not speaking to your daughter for that long? And how is it the organization has so much control over everybody's life, but when it comes to victim blaming and ostracizing sexual abuse victims and treating them like garbage, they can't provide any type of support for the victims? And they did the right thing, which is report it. What's the point of reporting it? So you can imagine my anger and you can imagine my disturbia when I find out at 16 years old that the reason my mother was ostracized by her mother for 10 years was because she reported sexual abuse to the elders. So that victim, once they report that crime to the elders, who were supposed to be the authority figures, has no support afterwards. They are literally tormented by their family. Sometimes families did not want the elders to know about that, and the families did not care. So it's not really a loving organization, to say the very least. That's how you kind of just know this cannot be God's organization. Because if it was really God's organization, they would have a better way of handling their abuse victims. And they don't. They just basically tell you to pray more, pray to Jehovah more. They provide no therapeutic support to their sexual abuse victims. And I just think it's disgusting. And that's why it's not a safe organization to be a part of. There's no healing for their sexual abuse victims. So they don't do anything. They have nothing for their victim. Better off in this world than you would be inside that organization. Horrible and horrible whatsoever. My mom became very strict on us That's probably why I didn't encounter any sexual abuse, because my mother was extremely rigid. I mean, unsightly rigid. I can't even describe how ridiculously overprotective my mother was. And it is due to a lack of being treated for the damage that was done to her. They don't allow them to get outside help. Outside help is Satan's system. So you are dealing with a lot of mental illness and damaged goods. A lot of the people in there have been abused. A lot of them have. That it's not God's organization, and they're not in any way messengers of God whatsoever. They're just a bunch of men, misogynistic men, making up rules to fit their agendas, their egos. Probably they're rubbing one out. That's all they are, and that's all it is. And once you realize that, you know it's no way this is God's organization. It's so stupid. Stupidest I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's that stupid. That's all I have right now. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in another video.